My tip today is all about trust. Trusting your listeners. This is one of the key elements that really confident speakers use to help them build relationships with others. It's not often talked about, but we're going to be discussing it today. All eyes on me. Hello, I'm Jane. One element that comes through to me so strong when I work with public speakers from all around the world is that many people are terrified of speaking because they believe they're going to be judged. They come into every situation fearful to speak up because they've convinced themselves that their listeners, their audience, whether it's 1 or 1,000, have arrived at this time and are ready to judge them. They can picture everybody in the boardroom or in the classroom or in the family room sitting there as they're speaking and judging them. No, people don't arrive in situations with a checklist in their head where the moment you start speaking, they're marking off points you did well and points you didn't do well. It's just so far from reality. That doesn't happen. But we believe this, and that's what derails our communication. Think about it this way. If you buy a ticket for a show, right, Broadway show or show wherever you live, do you buy that ticket and think, I really hope the show is horrible? No, you don't. Do you go into that Monday morning meeting and think, I really hope this is a giant waste of my time? No, you don't. Did you even arrive here today and think, I really hope that woman's hopeless and doesn't teach us a darn thing? No, you didn't. You arrived in all those situations wanting the best experience. You walked in hopeful, thinking this is going to be the meeting that we're all going to figure out that problem, or this is going to be the show I'll remember for the rest of my life, or this is the video where I'll get that one tip that's going to elevate my speaking skills. We go in with open hearts. The problem is that for most speakers, many speakers, they enter every situation like this, ready for what they believe is going to be judgment. And so what they do, they put up a mental and emotional barrier. Because while that barrier's up, they're protected behind it. So any criticism that they imagine, is flying their way is going to bounce off the shield and they'll be safe and protected behind it. They're doing it as a form of self-preservation. But this is where the communication derails. Remember, as I always say, communication is about building relationships. Once you've built relationships, you can share knowledge, you can inspire people, you can motivate them, you can bring about change, you can humor them, you can do anything you dream of once you've got that communication going with one person or a group of people. But as the speaker, the onus for starting that communication, creating an environment in which good communication can take place, is on you. You as the speaker need to set the tone. Imagine it this way. Having you on one side as the speaker and your listeners, whether it's family members or boardroom members, on the other side, you need to open the channel of communication. So it's almost like you're here and they're there and you're trying to build a bridge between them. If you as the speaker, and it's on you to do this, go in trusting your listeners, believing that they want you to succeed, then what you will do is you will put out that first plank on the bridge, the first brick on the bridge of communication. I promise you your audience will pick up on this energy, or the listeners will pick up on your energy, and they will put in their plank or their brick. And it goes back and forth until you've built this bridge of communication where you and the people or person on the other side can have this effective relationship. But if you go in and believe everybody's there to critique you, and you put up your mental and emotional barrier, no bridge building is going to take place. They will respond in like, and they won't trust you. And if they don't trust you because you didn't trust them, how are they going to get to like you? How are they going to get to know you? How are you going to become effective communication partners if both sides lack trust. It's up to you as the speaker to create this environment in which you trust your listeners and they will trust you back again. Now, this is a little bit more tricky to practice because it's a two-way street and it really depends on you reframing and correcting an old default setting. So you need to set yourself a challenge and say, when I go into that next setting, the boardroom, the meeting room, the classroom, the family room, I'm not going to go in and be completely wound up in looking at these people as my enemies, right? Because then you're going to get into the room and there will be a loop going through in your head where you will start to hyper judge every single thing every person's doing. So instead of focusing on your authentic message and sharing your knowledge, sharing your passion, sharing your message, you're going to be thinking, oh, why did that lady roll her eyes? Why is that person looking down at their phone? Oh my goodness, is he bored? No, don't get caught up in all of that. Open your hearts to them and trust that they are there ready to hear what you want to say. They want you to succeed. It's like going to a restaurant. You want a great meal. You don't want a failure. So in those settings, the people around you want you to succeed. They want to walk out and think, wow, that was really worth my time. I finally learned something in that Monday morning meeting. Or I saw the greatest Broadway show I've ever seen in my life. We want this. We want this in life. So we need to create that atmosphere. You have to walk into meetings. You have to walk into settings believing the audience is on your side, because I promise you, they are. If you struggle with this a bit, I always advocate that you prepare yourself, role play it a little bit in your mind before you walk into that setting. Just as you're walking down the passageway or a few minutes before, you jump onto a virtual call or whatever, give yourself a few minutes and try to think of all the positive aspects about the people who you're going to be talking to. So if you're walking into that Monday morning meeting and one or two trusted colleagues are there, so yes, they're going to be ready to listen to you. But if there are one or two people there you're a little intimidated by, you feel might be a bit prickly, take a second and try to think one positive thought about each of those people. Attribute a positive aspect to them that you know to be true. Don't make stuff up. So it could be, the boss can be a bit prickly, but my goodness, he really, really is a very generous person with his time. He's a very good explainer or very compassionate. Think something positive about these different people, because now you're creating the mindset that you're going in to talk with friends. You're going in to talk with trusted colleagues, people who respect and like you, and you will do the same for them. You have to shift this mind point so that you go in ready for this communication, because all of us fall back when we're nervous and anxious. We fall back onto that positioning where we feel, everybody here is going to be looking at me and finding me wanting, and that's not the truth at all. I guarantee this works. Put it into practice, challenge yourself, and then remind yourself over and over again, my listeners want me to succeed. Right? You can do my old homework as always and write it down 3 times. Read it out aloud. Read it out each morning before you head out. My listeners want me to succeed. You can insert other words. My colleagues want me to succeed. Put that in place and start from that position. I guarantee it'll make such a difference. If you want to learn a bit more about how to deal with the fear of public speaking, the fear that's coming from within inside you, just link to my next video, my other video, and you'll be able to layer in all these skills together. Please, as always, if you can like and subscribe and leave comments. They are so helpful in letting me know where to put the content. I'll see you next week, and as always, remember, it's time to speak up. All eyes on me.